Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we are back to Hearthstone. Today is March 2nd. We're on the European account. Had to think about that one for a second. We've got a watch and learn, which isn't too bad. And we've got 3 victories with shame. Well, two victories with a shaman. So, like, we could jump into Swanky right now and see how close he is to a victory. And it's kind of ridiculous to watch somebody, but we'll see. Like he's right at the beginning, but I think he'll do good. So I'll cover some of the news and try and comment on his playing. Not very video game related news, but a drunk man accidentally hailed a $1,600 Uber from West Virginia to New Jersey. For some reason, he said he agreed to pay it. Like, I don't know why he would agree to pay it, honestly. Honestly, also, I don't know why Uber would not disallow that, or at the very least, call the guy and go, hey, this is a trip from several states over. This is too much. I think if you're traveling more than 100 miles in any direction, they should give you some kind of person-to-person call and make sure the guy was drunk. It very possibly that is a fake news story, that it did happen, but Uber is paying the $1,600 fee so it can be advertised. I imagine similar scenarios have happened in the past, and they've ended up upsetting their customers. TechSpot has another thing. This also isn't video game related, but it is slightly interested for content creators. Google has an experiment called the Chrome Music Lab. That's a song making tool that lets you create original music right in your browser. In theory, you paint the notes on a grid. It seems. Let me just watch this trailer. In theory, you could then make your own music if you're really good and you want to spend a lot of time on that, and then put your own music up on YouTube and not get content ID'd. In theory, I assume, unless there's some really crazy license here that says you can't do that. But in realistic terms, there's still going to be people that are claiming that there are definitely people that are claiming copyright on silence and children laughing and like things that are only I think they let the content ID people choose the percentage of accuracy on some of the matches, and some of them turn the accuracy down to, like, if this is 5% close to what we sound, what I'm submitting, catch it and claim it. Like, I get, at least recently, and more often than not, I get claims from illegitimate people claiming they own the rights to music and not the legitimate people. There are certainly some games that claim the rights, and some music content owners that claim the rights for their own thing, but more often than not, it's illegitimate people. People every now and then try to claim all of Hearthstone as their content, and it's ridiculous. Moving on to news that's more about video games, although barely. PC Gamer has an article that says the ESA sides with internationally renowned mental health professionals to oppose the World Health Organization's gaming disorder proposal. Quote, we maintain the quality of the existing evidence base is low. I have to agree with the ESA on this one. I think we're having hysteria and red scares, blaming video games. Maybe we should push VR a little bit more than everybody can just blame VR for all violence. And it's because it literally is going to be the next thing. People are going to start blaming Netflix and Hulu and Amazon Prime for violence, and like it's just always going to be the ridiculousness thing. People will start blaming sugar and soy, and arguably sugar and soy might be affecting people and making them more violent than video games. There's another quote here: "The World Health Organization's process lacks transparency, is deeply flawed, and lacks objective scientific support. We urge the process to be halted." Let's see. Much confusion remains even among authors supporting the diagnosis regarding what exactly gaming disorder is. We maintain the quality of the existence evidence base is low. Formalizing a disorder with the intention to improve research quality neglects the wider non-clinical societal context. Robust scientific standards are not yet employed. Moral panic might be influencing formalization and might increase due to it. An addiction should be clearly and unambiguously established before formalizing new disorders in disease classification systems. Are all some quotes from their reference. And I agree on this one. Like, it kind of sucks you can't play sides with the ESA. I would like to always be on the ESA side, theoretically, but sometimes what they do is just not for the greater good, in my opinion. Well, we get a card pack from watching someone else play. Boring content there. Not really paying too much attention to what he did. Hey, look at that. An epic. A classic epic. Honestly, if everything... Oh, wow. Not only is it an epic, it is an epic that we already have. So let's check that out. So we already had this, and we're disenchanting dust laden golden versions still. Why I didn't label these new things as new, I don't know, but whatever. Alright, this, and classic. Missing. That's what we want. Missing. So, arguably, since I have a pile of dust here, I should get the ones that are about to be nerfed. So, mage. Where's the mage deck? The 3 cards that are about to be nerfed are this. I can't craft another one of those. And let's click this one, and I can't craft that one. And what was the 3rd card that was about to be nerfed? It was the Murloc that was 3 mana. Maybe it's not a classic card. What was that? Cold Murloc card. Not this one. I must have missed it. Must be too expensive to make. Where are you, Murloc? Like, the rumor I've heard is if you have these cards, you'll get free dust. So if I can craft the card, that would be great. Maybe I just have 2 of them already. I guess I could just type in Murloc. 2. I need to show golden cards, and 3. And I can't craft anything golden. I can barely even see these golden cards. Here we go. That would be 800 dust to craft these. Don't have it. So forget that. Turn this off. Come back here to classic. What can we honestly do with our small pittance of cards? We can craft this for 100, which is good. We can craft, let's see. Let's change this to common. And just get all the common cards out of the list. So we now know we need more than 40 cards. 40 dust to make anything. And I'm still like 40 dust short. So one more 40 dust, but we've got a common collection of the classic cards, of the classic, a complete, almost complete collection of the common cards, but we're still missing a significant number of the classic cards. Compared to my main account, I only have, I think, 12 cards, and I'm pretty sure 8 of them are legendaries and 4 of them are epics left. Here, there's 21 pages of just the classic things left. When the next expansion comes out, we're gonna continue to get these basic classic cards, but when you look at all cards, if just trying to get a complete collection on these new accounts, there's 139 pages of missing. But we did get a nice bump up there. Now, what do we need to win? Just Shaman victories. Interestingly enough, okay. So, find an overload deck. Or this custom Shaman 2, switch to standard, we're at rank 24, and let's just start playing. Let's see, Gamma Sutra has an article, doing an HD remake the right way, Chrono Trigger edition. Clearly the Chrono Trigger remake was just a terrible port. Something came out about the Chrono Trigger on Steam version is it's actually not even being sold permanently. So there's only a couple of weeks that you can actually buy this terrible Chrono Trigger port before it's never available for purchase anyways. Just, which as a YouTube video game critic, that puts me in a weird position where I would say maybe I should get this game in case I ever want to criticize it, but maybe that kind of is the whole thing, is that they're trying to trick people into spending money on something that you shouldn't spend money. So their rules here are, their paragraphs are: number 1, thou shall not apply filters inconsistently. That's something I definitely heard about, is that the filters make the graphics look very softened, where Chrono Trigger should instead be pixely, and it should just look like the old game would look if it was scaled up. Let's see. Yeah, and there probably are some better softening filters you could have run on it to make that work, but they didn't. Let's... What did he just do? Restore 3 health. I could have healed myself, darn it. Not paying attention. Let's see. There's also problems with the resolutions only working at the screen that your monitor is set to on Chrono Trigger. Boy, they kept talking about the filters too, because I had to scroll down quite a bit to get to number 2. Thou shalt not exacerbate tile boundaries with upscaled assets. So there would have been you're seeing here an image of tiles that look like a rocky moonscape, but because they're upscaled and they're not blended well, it clearly looks like a patchwork pattern instead of being a reasonable blending of 2 tiles so that you might not notice the repetition. Yeah, and they're rotating tiles and using different tiles, I think, but there's not much variety there. Let's see. Moving on. They're still talking about it. These people really probably know how to do an HD resolution. Number 3, thou shalt not pollute the screen with mixels. Ideally pick a single pixel scale and stick to it everywhere. So is mixels a term they're making up here to imply what you get when you mix a couple of different... Let's do this. A couple different scaled things. They're showing good examples. Oh, I see. Now they're showing bad examples. So, like, one point of the picture, the pixels are barely, like, maybe 5 dots per inch or something, like maybe 100 dots per inch, whatever would be a really low scale number for that scale. And then another part, the pixels are clearly much fewer dots per inch. So the squares look smaller in one area and bigger in another. What are we gonna do? I could restore this guy and give him taunt. Should let him do that and that. And then I could give this guy Wind Fury, so he can do that. And then the turn. Let's see. Number 4, they didn't talk about mixels too much. Thou shalt respect the work of thou art and improving. I don't know why they're gonna phrase all of this like the 10 Commandments. Just speak normally. Whoever's writing this article is some game designer. That is a very subjective, but also, I would argue, very big issue, that many remasters and HD remakes of games are made by somebody who just does not give a darn about what the product they're making. And when that becomes an issue, it's problematic. Definitely problematic. See, we've got Japanese names. Asking me, do I have League of Legends? No, I don't. If you do, would you like to play sometime? No, I wouldn't. Sorry. League of Legends is too long of a game. Frankly, I don't even know if League of Legends costs money. So I could probably play it, but there's just a long list of games that take too much time, and that's one of them. And I've already got Hearthstone in my life, which takes too much time. I'm not looking for things that never end, that don't have a single player story expansion, which I imagine League of Legends doesn't. On my channel, there's probably hundreds of games I have played, and very consistently you will tell that they are single player focused experiences, with the exception of Hearthstone. And while I potentially would consider replacing Hearthstone with something, it has to be something that requires less of my attention and less of my time, not something that would require more of my attention. I couldn't cover the video game news playing League of Legends, almost certainly. And I couldn't imagine playing an hour-long game. Moving back to the articles, let's see what else do they have to say. Number 5, thou shalt not poop all over the name emulation. Yeah, I don't see how you're going to sell your product. I don't see how you're going to sell your remake version of a game by mentioning the word emulation at all. Because once you get that idea in people's head, then you've got to compete with people knowing that that exists as an option, whether it's legal or not. And with Chrono Trigger's release, most people are saying, yeah, you should just play the game illegally with an emulation. Because what they're offering is not better. By far. Moving on, though, that article was really long to say some pretty obvious things that we kind of already knew. Japanese game says League of Legends is purely online game which is free to play. That's what I thought. But I'm pretty sure to play a League of Legends game takes about an hour, and it's like a team thing with 3 lanes where you're feeding it. I sort of know what the game is, but it just doesn't. It's just never gonna fit into my schedule, honestly. Like, maybe one day if I had an extra hour, I'd install it and check it out, but it would never be the type of game where I'd play it more than once or twice. And that's nothing really saying anything about League of Legends. I just not played that type of game ever. Even games like Civilization, which are single player experiences but are nearly as long to play a single game, if not longer, like those become too much of a burden in time, and they take more brain power than I would like to spend on a game too. PC Gamer has an article, says what indie developers think of Unity in 2018. There's a quote here: "The Unity look many gamers lament may become a thing of the past, but who knows?" Which is certainly true. You can make a good looking game in Unity. Hearthstone, I believe, is made in Unity, but the lazy people who use Unity to make bad game and asset flips are certainly hurting the name of Unity. There's room for a split off where Unity is called something different if you make a free game versus what Unity is called when you make a good game, like a seal of quality or something, maybe, that you could put on Unity games to say this is actually a AAA or AA game that's good versus this is just an asset flip. Let's see. Like, here's a trailer for a game called Blazing Legion Ignition that I'm looking at, made in Unity. It doesn't look anything like a Unity asset flip. It looks good. It's interesting. It's an interesting trailer to a game. I can't wait to see any more information. Heaven's Vault is an interesting Unity game because it's kind of just a point-and-click adventure game, but it's done in more of a 3D artistic style that makes it look different. Getting Over It with Benet Foddy is actually an asset flip game, but even with that, they created some kind of constructed chaos artistic style in it. So you see a scene from Getting Over It even without the character from Getting Over It in it, and you have a decent guess on what that game is. Here I'm seeing a screenshot for a black and white game with stickmen made in Unity that looks different than most Unity games, although there is a decent number of black and white stickmen based games or color based stickmen games. Another quote here is, "Despite the bugs we see, it's an excellent tool that generally democratizes game development for smaller developers, which may be a good or a bad thing." Like, I don't know how much gatekeeping I personally want in the video game creation industry, like, but I kind of want some. I want Steam to gatekeep a little bit. A little bit more than just paying $100 to put the game on Steam. But I don't want people to not develop games. I just want people to be honest with themselves. And if you've made the first game you've ever made in your life in Unity and you're proud of it and you want to show it off, put it on like itch.io or put it out for free. That's fine. But don't get greedy and come back and try and sell your game for $60 when it's full of bugs and it's just an asset flip and you've got a lot more to learn and do. Let's see. Moving on. Firmament, the new game from the creators of Myst, has a Twitter account, so I'm gonna follow that and scroll down its Twitter account to see if there's any information really to see. No, seems like March 1st was when they announced it and started the account. Still not doing a great job getting up ranked. I can't wait for the next expansion when I can spend these golds and get more cards and try and build just a cheap, free-to-play classic deck for each character, something that can get me a little bit higher. PC Gamer has an article, Trump, violence in video games is really shaping young people's thoughts, updated. Let's see. Let's see. There was talk here that the White House was going to meet with the ESA and member companies and talk with Trump about his 2 or 3 times now he said that the video games are too violent, which I don't want to say something about Barron Trump, but Barron Trump probably is the only person in Trump's life that plays video games. All his other children are pretty old adults, and so it wouldn't surprise me, since if Barron Trump, he seems like he's probably got ADD or something severely, and I'm trying to be as kind and not insult him. And so I wouldn't be surprised if he was being given mature rated games by his parents, who would be Donald Trump and Ivanka Trump. I think Ivanka is the mother and not the daughter. It's hard to keep the two straight. So it could be in his own personal household he is being a bad parent and giving his child who is too young to have mature games, and he could be getting that message. However, that's probably not the case. The real truth here is that anytime there's any kind of gun violence anyways, the lobbyist for the NRA hands a sheet of talking points to politicians to point at and blame that gun violence on anything but gun violence. And they've been doing the exact same thing since the 90s. It's always music, comic books, movies, TV, violence in video games. It's the same thing over and over again. The only real difference this time is usually most politicians wouldn't actually bother to act or do anything or even say these things out loud if they can get away with it, but you just never know with the current president. So he very possibly could propose censorship or legal governmental censorship of video games that would have to be challenged in court and cost a lot of money and would ultimately fail, because it has ultimately failed many times. As soon as somebody talks to Trump about anything, not to get political, he seems to have a slightly altered, evolved idea on the subject based on who he talks, but he seems to also go backwards and forwards. So it's not like he's evolving on the subject and learning more. It's more along the lines of he just kind of agrees with whoever talked with him last. So we'll probably see this talked about more. There certainly still are people that think video games are getting more violent, which I don't really believe is true, and that video games have always been too violent. Those people are getting older and fewer as they die out with old age, and as most generations now have played video games consistently throughout their life and not just I mean, we never really had a generation where people played with video games, then they had children, had kids themselves, and then stopped playing video games completely. They surely slowed down, but nobody's completely given it up. And that's why these arguments seem just utterly ridiculous to the vast majority of people now. If I was going to throw any shade, I would say the entertainment that old people watch, Law and Order, CSI, things like that, that are just flood the primetime airwaves. Those are the things that have consistently been violent and gotten more violent over and over again over the years. So it's the entertainment that's being consumed by elderly people that we should, if we thought for a second it was affecting people, it really isn't. Oddly, there was an article just today saying actually school shootings are down. Like, anytime it gets talked about, it seems to also coincidentally be the exact same time that school violence and school shootings and gun violence in general have just been lesser and less. Not that it doesn't need to be dealt with in some way, probably. Just that we shouldn't probably deal with things just because the news is talking about things. We should deal with things because they actually need to be dealt with. And we should deal with things, period, ever. Let's see. Tragic Master said, Adventures of Baron Trump was written in the 1800s. The sequel, The Last President, describes global events currently happening now. A little crazy, huh? I don't know if Tragic is joking here or if there actually was a book written by that name. But as just to try and stick to the facts here, the ESA wants to talk to Trump. The White House said they were going to talk to him, but they hadn't sent out the invitations. So then the ESA said that we actually haven't gotten any official invitations, and there's now an update saying that the invitations haven't actually been sent yet, but it will go out soon. It's like just disorganization, which it seems pretty typical. Let's hit this. Detroit Become Human gets a release date. It's coming out May 25th, exclusively on the PS4. So, in the middle of Sony Interactive Entertainment reorganizing quite a bit, we have Detroit Become Human coming out. In a weird way, this might be a disappointing seller for Sony, because there's what now is pretty obviously some slander against Quantic Dream was made, and it made some hay and then stopped being reported. But I imagine there are some people that may not want to play Detroit Become Human because of that. There's more legitimate reasons to not play Detroit Become Human. If you didn't like Heavy Rain, if you didn't feel like it was enough of a game, if you're tired of living on the nostalgia of Indigo Prophecy, if you just aren't interested in a narrative-based story about robots being obvious analogies to being slavery, Uh, it's certainly a game, because it's so narratively based, that we're gonna have to, one, wait until the reviews come out, and two, heavily be critical of the reviews to make sure it's not being panned or overly praised, just because of the content that they're talking about. Quantic Dream tries to do these deep, impactful social statement games, but in all actuality, they're not very good writing, in my opinion. Heavy Rain had some major problems. Maybe a remaster of Heavy Rain, it could come out a little quicker, and that could improve it, get more people to play it. Let's see. Ben Williams goes, "You were on my YouTube front page, my dude." Wow, that's cool. That is really cool. So that's the kind of feedback I need more than ever. It's part of, once YouTube starts talking about the number of impressions they're giving people, that is great. I have definitely seen YouTube loves to recommend people who are live. People who live stream. I get, on average, 11 to 18 views on a live stream, whereas compared to my pre-recorded footage that goes out every weekday right now, and is going to eventually come out every day, it gets 2 views, and it doesn't get recommended to anybody at all. But it is getting recommended to people. Honestly, I'm going to have to give up this claim, and I'm going to have to just admit that the fact that I don't have an artist to make thumbnails is the reason why nobody's clicking on my videos. I don't think it's the titles being bad, although my titles aren't on my pre-recorded footage. They aren't clickbait. They aren't anything designed to specifically trick people into watching the videos. They're very simplistic, low effort titles. If I'm playing The Evil Within, it's The Evil Within number 35 if it's episode 35. And that's all that I have on them right now. I'm going to go back to an old experiment I was doing before, where I was putting HD 1080p 60 frames per second at the end. That seems to get more people's attention. But that's kind of all I can and would want to do as far as titles. So it then all just falls down to whatever random thumbnail YouTube decides to do. But almost certainly the reason why Ben saw me is because I was live. Let's see. PC Gamer has an article. Ghost of a Tale, the RPG about a minstrel mouse, has a new release date. When is it coming out? The game will be out in full in 2018. That's okay. March 28th. With March 13th on the PC. All right, March 2018 launch window. March 13th on the PC. And since this is the PC game with the mouse in it compared to the PSVR game with the mouse in it called Moss, I am interested in playing it. I want to get at least one of these mouse games, because there's at least 2 or 3 of them coming out this year. It's on my wish list. It's early access right now for $20. Ooh, I didn't know you could buy it right now. It's rated very positive. 100% of 13 users in the last 30 days are positive. Seriously, that is a really high positive rating, King. Like, it seems too high. The game abruptly ends in early access, which I assume He has an early access that's not legitimate. The amazing game, no glitches or bugs to report in early access, also works perfectly for me. Really pleased. 5 people found this review helpful. Was this helpful? No. I'm gonna change that to no, that's not helpful. To just say everything works perfect in an early access game where clearly not everything is gonna work perfect. You're shilling here. You're lying. Interesting. If only I could reduce the cost of these cards. There's gotta be some trickery here. There's gotta be something like they've gotta be deleting reviews or something. Let's look at the 22 negative reviews. Like, this is the second time I downloaded the game. It did not work the first, and it still doesn't work. Okay, that deserves a negative review if it doesn't work. Let's see. This game says it's very, very hard to judge, but it's also not difficult. It's just a straight adventure. Here's an interesting review. Somebody has disclosed this game copy was bought by the reviewer. You don't actually have to disclose when you buy your own games. You only have to disclose when you don't buy your own games. That's really, really ridiculous. Yeah, what are you disclosing there? You have money? You spent money on the game like every normal person ever?
Put your faith in the light.
Most of these negative reviews, from what I can tell, are very long, and they're just bugs, but they're also kind of saying controller support doesn't work. I'm still hyped about that game. I'm still hyped about the game I just forgot the name of. Can't be that hyped about it, I suppose. I literally just forgot what it was called. Minstrel Show? It's not Moss. Tale of something? Let's see if I can look at my history. Ghost of a Tale. That's the name of the game. Can't be that hyped about it. It's not a good name, clearly. Let's kill that. In the turn. Let's see. Thimbleweed Park has a Ransom Unbeeped DLC. The new DLC eliminates the censorship bleeps that they Ransom the Clown, a foul-mouthed character from the game Thimbleweed Park, which is like a Ron Gilbert point-and-click adventure, I believe made by Ron Gilbert, that you could get. It seems like kind of a ridiculous DLC element to purchase, but whatever. Still not getting these victories, and that's what I need. Need one more victory with the Shaman, so let's move over to casual. We'll deal with ranked later. They're being very obvious here that the DLC only takes away the beeping, which puts it in a weird like point for a YouTuber. It's like I probably wouldn't I'd buy the DLC and then keep it for myself, but not install it when covering Thimbleweed Park, because those censorship bleeps are there. It's also probably a terrible thought to introduce the idea of paying $2 to decensor something that should be either always censored because it's your artistic vision, or should just be a toggle in the options. To make people pay $2 is not good at all. And say, even when you buy the DLC, you have to go in the options each time you launch the game to unbeep things. This feels slimy. It's like the Gal Gun double piece DLC, which would make the girl's breasts smaller or larger. They were like $99 to have. That it seems slimy to make people pay for that. And like the main game, Thimbleweed Park, which is rated very positive, costs $20 right now. So it is a game I want to cover, but I don't see it being right to charge 10% more, which is effectively what they're doing, just to decensor something. Let's hit this here first and learn to play, and then hit play this, and maybe that would have been a snipe, but I guess not. Not video game related, but the SEC is cracking down on cryptocurrency initial coin offerings. Numerous cryptocurrency companies are being hit with subpoenas. The idea of a company doing an initial public offering of some cryptocurrency value, so you buy stock in their company. There's a lot of crazy stock manipulation and things happening clearly in the world of cryptocurrency, and the SEC is getting their lawyers involved because some of it is straight up pyramid schemes by a different name. So it was Snake Trap. The game Darwin Project debuts on Steam Early Access next week. Darwin Project is a Hunger Games styled battle royale survival game through the Canadian North. It's coming out March 9th. Developer Scavenger Studios. So the thing here I want to know is, what has Scavenger Studios made? Kinda nothing. Like, I don't know. I mean, I don't think you can trust any company like this. Like, you very possibly are going to see a lot of people on Twitch playing Darwin Project when it comes out. But for me, who wants some more confidence and wants to not play half-finished games, and for my own recommendations where people should play half-finished games, it's not something people should get into until they know other people are into it. Too often we've seen things like Rust or Fortnite, the non-battle royale part of Fortnite, or just a community tries a game, they get into it for a short time, and then they leave. Conan Exiles is a great example of a game that should have been very successful, but because it was released in early access and then really never came out of early access, I don't think it is out still of early access. It lost all of its appeal. Let's see. a mining horde shooter called Deep Rock Galactic is coming to Steam. It's kind of like Left 4 Dead, but with bugs instead of zombies, and you're short and bearded. So you're playing as like a dwarf. This is a PC Gamer article. Ghost Ship Games, however, at the bottom of this article says they expect Deep Rock Galactic to remain in early access for 1 to 2 years. Why is PC Gamer even talking about a game if it's coming to early access but not really coming out for 1 to 2 years? That's ridiculously too long. Early access should be like 6 months. And YouTube should, well, not YouTube this time, Steam, Valve, should put some limits there. Like, if your game is not in a final product in 6 months, it needs to be delisted or in some way punished. They need to open up the potential for refunds for people. It needs to not be available for sale anymore until you finish your product. There needs to be something, whatever it is, something that says, look, you can't just drag these people around by the nose for years and years. And PC gamers shouldn't just be advertising this game because it's made by Ghost Ship Games, who I'm pretty sure is their friend. Maybe not. Like, I thought Ghost Ship Games had some other games they developed, but apparently not. Like, I'm not even seeing any other games that they've even made. Let's see. Ghost Ship Games, Black Sails, The Ghost Ship, Deep Rock Galactic. Yeah. Man, they just needed an article, I guess, because like an unknown company that's never made anything else apparently, talking about a game they want in early access for 2 to 3 years. Not news. Not news in my book at all. Should have attacked. This is just going to be explosive trap or something.
What? They fell off a truck.
And I still have news to talk about. Yeah, this doesn't matter, but GitHub falls victim to the largest DDoS attack ever recorded. Skip that. Gamer Sutra has an article. Facebook launches women in gaming site to share stories, research, and tools. With the hashtag #SheTalksGames. Let's open up their site. I don't get it. Like, facebook.com/business/m/women-in-gaming is the website. I really don't get what half the people are trying to accomplish when they do things like this. Like, is the idea that you have to be in your own separate segregated group? Like, why can't I just hand the controller to a woman in the same way I would hand it to a man and say, let's just play a game? Why can't I just be playing with other gamers online? Because that's, maybe I'm too idealistic, but that's what I always felt like. Like, I don't chat too much, but I've as much assumed that if I was playing online with somebody that they were as easily likely to be male or female. I don't know what stories you're going to share in your video gaming experience that's much different, if different at all, to the stories that people would share from if they were male and playing video games. The only thing I can see is that this is going to be experiences of harassment on video games that everybody gets. Here at the bottom of the screen it says industry stories, so it's women who program games talking. I wonder, and then you have to wonder how many of these are biological women and how many of these are transitioned women. Which there's a heavy amount of transition women in the video game industry. For whatever that's worth, if it's may very well not be worth anything. But I suppose it might lead to different experiences. Still trying to get one victory. Do I have another shaman deck? No. Still playing casual. There's industry stories. Women from across the industry share their experience. Watch videos. Industry partnerships. Find out who we're partnering with. All the industry incentives and events. So they want to have women-only events. More segregation. Let's see. Industry research. Like, nothing here seems like it's guided to inform, educate, or in any way bring the sexes together. I mean, maybe I'm just too biased, honestly, but this really just seems like a website designed to get people to watch videos on Facebook, and that's probably it. But it also seems like somebody wasted their time at Facebook when Facebook could certainly be improving other things, doing something better with their time, which we see that all the time on YouTube too. There's bugs and content ID and just demonetizing people all over the place, but they sure do have time to make sure Logan Paul gets some more views. I saw a YouTube video of a person talking about how the last trending topic on YouTube now is people complaining about YouTube because there's just nothing else to even talk about or get on. No other way to even get on trending now. It's just to complain about YouTube. PC Gamer has an article. NVIDIA probably won't announce new graphics card at GDC or GTC. So the Game Developers Conference or the Graphics Technology Conference, which I'd never heard of the GTC until now. That's believable. Unless they're going to do something crazy that allows you to block cryptocurrency mining in the next generation of video cards. That way they can sell them cheaper. I don't think they're ready to do anything else in the video cards. They want to get the quality and the specs up so you're not just buying a incremental improvement over what already exists. Ever since I installed Steam Enhanced, they moved the tags. Let's see. They came out with Beyond the Invisible. Darkness Came as the new game on Steam that was released. It's a hidden object game. And how much are they asking for it? $6, 25% off. Mixed animation styles. Your standard hidden object garbage game that I will pay 99 cents for. And that is generous. It has no reviews. There's really nothing to it. It's the same sort of sci-fi, vampires, monsters, hidden object game thing where it's just mixing. It's probably the same few companies out there making the same games under different shell names. Let's see. Let's do this and this, and then hit this. Gearbox has a behind-the-scenes tour and dinner at Gearbox headquarters with Randy Pitchford in Frisco, Texas. There are 18 hours, 12 minutes, and 54 seconds left on this. The current bid with... let me see if I can zoom in here, get this information right. Did that zoom in too much? Can I not scroll to the side? Apparently not. With 4 bids, the current bid is $2,750. The estimated value is $10,000. I think that is ridiculous to just make a $10,000 bet claim. It's not worth $10,000 to get a Gearbox headquarters thing. It'd be funny, but also possibly illegal because of pending litigation or future litigation. If Jim Sterling paid for this and went from, he's in Louisiana, so he'd have to drive a decent number of hours, 6 to maybe 8 hours at most, to get to Frisco. Probably less than that. To be next to Randy Pitchford. So if you want to bid on that bid goes to One Night One Drop charity. Let's see, which is a Cirque du Soleil. It was created by the Cirque du Soleil founder. Is celebrating 10 years of providing access to safe water, sanitation, and hygiene to some of the world's most vulnerable communities. So it's one of those Bill Gates giving water to poor people charities. That's probably good. Although I would recommend anybody check Charity Navigator and see how effective that particular charity actually is. But I can't really complain too much about Randy Pitchford trying to make money for a charity he believes in, particularly when it's a charity that's not pushing some major agenda that is controversial. It's water for people. The more controversial opinion would be that some people don't deserve water or shouldn't get water. Let's see, moving on. PC Gamer, the Her Story creators' next project, War Games, is launching this month. It starts March 14th as kind of this full motion video series that I'm not sure how much interactivity it really is, and it's on this site called Echo, EKO, that I've never heard of. So it's gonna be probably a major flop. It's just on the wrong site. It's not really a game, it seems like. There's just a lot of things, a lot of things that aren't gonna work well. Let's see. There's this phone called Light Phone, and Light Phone 2 has come out, and it adds a few more features. Apparently it's an anti-smartphone, so it's just like an EE screen, and it just has the ability to make phone calls and text message, and that's it. It's not like an Android phone or anything. It's really slim looking, and it probably has a decent battery life for what it does, but it really does feel like more of a device that you would either hand to a kid or you would have in developing nations where it's extremely expensive to have any kind of cell phone plan at all. It was an Indiegogo campaign that asked backers to pay $225 for the early bird price, while the retail costs $400, which $400 for that phone is a little expensive, but not for a regular phone. Equifax, this is oddly a PC Gamer article for no reason. Equifax audit uncovers more victims of the 2017 security breach. I imagine they're going to continuously just find more and more people that are affected by that. And I'm still not winning. After this game, I think I may close. I may be close enough to finishing all the news, so I'm suspecting we may just show off what we have to do in the Americas account, and then we're going into Silent Post show. There's this game called Yoku's Island Express, which is a Sonic Spinball meets Studio Ghibli, according to PC Gamer. Well, this shaman needs to get destroyed as a deck. That's not a good deck. Let's watch the trailer for this game. Yoko, Y-O-K-U Island Express. It seems like it's a bird rolling an egg, and there's a lot of different ways to interact with it, including swimming underwater. The funny thing is, I have nostalgia and love for Sonic Spinball, but I honestly know that as a pinball game, it's not actually good. The first level is pretty good, and that may be it. Seems like this egg also gets painted. This is an interesting looking game. A little bit different. I don't know how long it is, because that's what's gonna really kill it. And only one scene so far has shown anything that actually has any pinball flippers in it. The rest of it is more just directly guiding the ball. Thank goodness. Thank goodness. And now I just need one more victory of any kind, so we can try to play a Murloc deck, which I keep going back to the Murloc decks for no reason. Apparently this game is made by Team 17, which that's something interesting. Yoko's Island Express is due out at some stage in Q2 2018. So that's an interesting one to look at. Sadly, PC Gamer has announced it early again, so there's no like Steam page, and if I can't get a game into a Steam wish list, it might as well not exist, because I may just forget it. Almost certainly I'll forget it. TechSpot has an article. This app rewards students with discounts for not looking at their phones, which is kind of an interesting idea of rewarding students for not looking at their phones, in the idea that it looks like it's running a app that pauses or messes up every time you try to change it, and kind of it seems like the app wastes your battery by doing that. Wouldn't it be better for it to be able to sense when your screen is off, and then run the counter whenever the screen's off, and then stop the counter when the screen comes on? I'm pretty sure you can do that on Android phones. The problem here is earning discounts on goods for students is not a great idea, because this is just trying to sell to kids, and kids don't generally have or use their own money. So, like, if you have 150 points, according to this example, you get 20% off. Ugly drinks, which I've never heard of ugly drinks before. This is a UK app, so that might explain that. Or free popcorn. Hold is the name of the app. It's not available in the US. but initial talks are really underway. I don't like this idea. I don't like there being some excuse to try and convince people to the to convincing kids who may be vulnerable into spending money. Like you kind of need to reward them some other way. It's not realistic. Like, well, arguably, if you're working at a job and you need to stay off your phone so you don't get fired and you get paid that way, it's not like a job will give you discount for staying off your phone. They'll just fire you if you are on your phone the whole time. And that is more of an issue than anything else, is that a lot of kids, when they first get their first jobs, struggle heavily with staying off their phone for their 4 to 8 hour shift. And but then again, a lot of jobs make such a big deal about it when it really isn't. And it's just an old-fashioned way of thinking and doing things. Because if you're, say, working at the back of a Walmart and nobody's around, checking your phone is just a way of keeping yourself out of bigger trouble. On the other hand, if you're supposed to actually be doing work and you're not doing it because of your phone addiction, that's also a problem. Again, I'm using the phrase addiction wrong there. Let's see, noble sacrifice. This and this. PC Gamer has an article. New Frostpunk developer updates outlines endgame and confirms price. The Society Simulator will be released in March. Frostpunk, the game about building and maintaining a society in a very undesirable, read frosty circumstances, will release in March. But in the meantime, Studio 11-bit has released details of the game's advanced endgame, which involves keeping your society on the straight and narrow, or if you want, tyrannically beating it into the shape you desire. Let's watch this trailer just to see a general idea of how this game is supposed to work. It doesn't look like SimCity, but it feels like SimCity, if any of that makes any sense. It has kind of this makeshift but technologically advanced city. The city is built around a circle, thermal heat pipes, I'd assume, and all around it is a bunch of buildings that have snow on their roof and aren't very well differentiated. It looks kind of like a Londonish, not modern day London, but a London during the Industrial Revolution style place. The people look animated as small characters, so they're not going to play a big role. And every scene they're showing is just the camera spinning around in circles, trying to show different parts of the city. The city seems to have some flying robots, like 1 or 2. I don't know. Like, Frostpunk, I guess maybe it's supposed to have some cyberpunk elements in it. It seems more kind of like a steampunk, but with ice instead. So you're combining, it's more frosty steampunk than cyberpunk and frost, because there really is no cyberpunk I see in this. This could be a good game. It's one of those ones that we're just gonna have to wait for reviews. There's a job listing. There's a job listing. wait till Monday to talk about that because we've already gone long. I'm on the Humble Bundle. There is 3 days left on the Classics Return Humble Bundle. Still some decent games on there. Nothing's really changed other than I guess the average now is $6.69. The Brawler Bundle has 10 days left and quite a few games in here that look like a pretty good decent deal. Let's just play this and this. Let's see. And is there any new bundles from the Humble Bundle store? No, just a comic book bundle, which I'm not interested in. Which that puts me in a good position. So let's go back to Twitter and see if there's been any news in the few hours that we've been streaming that absolutely needs to be reported, and then we'll wrap up. Pit People apparently is out now with a little fanfare. Like really little fanfare. Like I don't even have anything to really say about it at that rate. If they don't have anything to say about it, I don't have anything to say about it. Let's play this. Seems like I might be able to win here, but it's a little early to say that. Scrolling down the Twitter. Scrolling down the Twitter. Some people definitely have early access to Far Cry already. Far Cry 5. And that means we'll start to see some early access reviews and probably slightly higher than they should be reviews in those instances. But I imagine a lot of people aren't even going to fall for that. Bethesda has had the best games in 2017 according to Metacritic. I don't know if any of that really matters. Like, is that the way to judge success? Is the number of games that have the highest scores? Or is it the... I don't know. Keep on scrolling, keep on scrolling. Fanatical has its bundle fest, but those don't go to charity, so I don't really want to cover those. Let's... Scrolling down. Let's see. Prey Twitter hints at an expansion set on the moon. Prey could do with some DLC expansion to try and get a few more sales. It's really a forgotten game for such a big game. If it was released like right now, it would probably have done better because there's just nothing coming out. Nothing coming out right now, so they could have enjoyed a good month of coverage and people talking about the game. PC Gamer has an article 5 great builds to help you get started in Path of Exile's new Pokemon-esque league. I don't play Path of Exile, so. Defiance 2050 reimagined sci-fi shooter coming this summer. We already talked about that, I think, last stream. 2 hours ago? Man, I've been streaming longer than 2 hours. I know I have. Finally, victory. Finally. Finally, we can go to the Americas account. It's been easily 3 hours straight. Let's switch over there. Scrolling down the Twitter feed more and more. Hearthstone aired on my channel, Hearthstone number 847, 2 hours ago. I don't know how many people watching me live playing Hearthstone want to go watch a pre-recorded version of me playing live Hearthstone live. But if you do, it's out there. Gearbox now has a publishing blog. Interesting. So they're doing something slightly different there. Now I need to play a bunch of Paladin cards and get 2 victories with the Mage. Let's take a moment, I suppose, to play a Paladin deck. Why is that my Paladin deck? I don't know. Play ranked. Might as well, since I'm just playing cards. Too much on my Twitter. Neo Complete Edition is 50% off of PlayStation Plus on PlayStation Store. Not PC gaming related, unfortunately. Dota PC Gamer has an article. Dota 2's new rapid update schedule is a positive step for a maturing game. Let's see. There's a game called Audio Forger that looks like a VR game that came out just 3 hours ago on Steam. Doesn't look that interesting though. Come on. I have to scroll all the way back down to when YouTube announced my videos, which by the way I worked on that again to get the double post to not happen. It's something about YouTube doing it. I don't know what. I thought I fixed it for a second and it stopped happening. AT&T is adjusting the cost of unlimited data plans for new subscribers. I don't think I'd want to work or start a contract with AT&T right now, knowing that they are going to try to destroy net neutrality and succeeding at it at that. Like, you may find yourself in an unlimited data plan that changes and slows down the speed of your YouTube browsing or Netflix browsing, so that you have to use AT&T's alternatives to YouTube and Netflix, which suck. There's a game called Award Room of Fear. And there we are. There we are. Yeah, this game, Award Room of Fear, is not good. Not anything worth talking about. Good, so we are now done. We can... Let's just play this game and then we'll wrap up. 46 minutes late. I could have done an entire 4th recording, which at some point in the future I need to start doing those. Because if I'm going to release Hearthstone every day, then the only way I'd ever be able to do that is by recording 4 recordings at least once a week. Because well, no, not really. If I'm pretty consistently getting 3 recordings on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I'm making 9 recordings. And if I'm making 9 recordings, that's more than the 7 days. And I'm already months and months ahead, so yeah. I don't know what math I was thinking about, but it clearly wasn't good math. I'm getting less notifications these days, less people randomly following and retweeting and liking my tweets, which none of that ever really did anything or helped, so didn't really matter as far as I can tell. I am not playing any Paladin cards, and that was the only reason I came into this deck, was to play Paladin cards. This deck doesn't have any of those. I'm gonna have to make a temporary deck and yeah, I'm gonna have to make a temporary deck and very possibly get rid of this deck. This seems like a Divine Shield deck. It has its own name. Counts 1 less for every solo hand recruit. We'll do that. Next turn, play this. Well, he just well played me. What's he gonna do? 5 plus another 5 and defeat me. To be fair, I always want to be as fair as possible. At the very least, this has been a pretty great Friday stream. Like, people came on, people chatted. That's all I can really ask these days. I would like to see a more consistent growth in subscribers. I'm at 233 subscribers right about now, and I'd like to see that consistently go up. That's going to be it for this talking portion of the stream. As always, stay tuned if you want to watch the silent post show. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want to friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below in the description box. If you want to support me, gift me something on Steam. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.